So if you open up your phone or swiped it clear so you can see, and you see a text from someone that you adore who clearly is frustrated with you about something that's happened, and you didn't mean it to show up the way it showed up, but they're clearly upset. I think we probably have all been privy to this, and I want to talk about that today. So I'm Sandy, and this happened to me, well, I'm 49, so obviously it's happened a lot. I'm sure before cell phones, it happened in the form of, you know, a phone call or someone giving me the cold shoulder at work or whatever, right? I mean, it shows up all the time. The thing is that what do you do in those moments? What do you do? So I had a situation where I have a group of friends, and we had agreed that we wanted to expand our circle, and we were doing like an online, you know, virtual hangout. And everyone has said that if we know anyone who's like-minded, bring them in the group, which would be great. You know, let's have a discussion about it. You know, we all trusted each other. And so I invited this person to come in to a group text, and there was a misunderstanding. And I got a message from a friend that felt like I was not in integrity because I should have asked permission again to bring them into the group. And I thought that we had already covered that. And so, I mean, it was a total misunderstanding. The key is though, or the thing is, I got like miffed by it, and they were clearly miffed. And I haven't had that type of interaction with someone in a long time, because I've chosen to really be around people where we can have a deep discussion if there are things that can bother us. Because, you know, there was a couple little blurts and accusations of me being selfish and not only thinking about myself. And I had to listen to that for a minute, and then I absorbed it. And then I wanted to come back with a lot of defensiveness. Whew. Yeah, seriously. Anyway, what I did was I actually took pause, and was able to take a look at it the next day. And what came to me again, I'm so grateful, you know, that I have the mindset to see the gift in everything. But what really came to me is the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, which is The 4 Agreements. I've met people who say they live by the 4 agreements, but I clearly see them in pissed off situations. I see people that are super spiritual and super holy, and, you know, whether they're Christians, Muslims, agnostics, I mean, whatever it is, but they state that they are the thing and full of love. And then as soon as there's a point of strife or a place where they're not in control, they don't get their way, then, you know, they're triggered, and then their pain shows through, you know, their actions. I call it whack-a-mole. We're all human, and this is where we're called to give grace, for sure. But the 4 agreements talk about these principles: to be impeccable with your word, to not take things personally, and to not make assumptions, and to always do your best. Things that we probably learned in kindergarten, right? Yeah. So we can be as spiritual as we say we are, and it looks good, and it looks good on a post on Instagram, and, you know, our parents are teaching this and all of that. But in times when it matters, when the rubber meets the road, how are we showing up? So be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? Well, simply speak with integrity. You know, do what you say what you do. And if plans are made and you may have to break them, show up, be honest, share what's really going on, and avoid using your words as a way to speak against yourself and also other people in gossip. Because it's not just about what we say about other people, but it is also super important. Like, how are we talking to ourselves? How is our inside talk? And are we mumbling to ourselves all day? I mean, our words need to be impeccable. And we all talk about that, you know, especially in the personal development world, we want to be mindful of our words. You know, Joyce Meyer actually talks about the battlefield of the mind. She's a great book about that. You know, what are we saying to ourselves on a minute-to-minute basis? Also, we want to make sure that our words are honestly speaking love, that our words speak love to ourselves and to the world and to others. That's super important. And don't take things personally. Wow. Easier said than done, right? But if you can honestly see and remember that what somebody else perceives whatever happened is their model of the world. It's actually the way they were raised, whether it's their own triggers or their own mindset or the rules around it. It may not even be that it's wrong. It's just their rules around what this is supposed to be. For example, it might be the way a birthday party is supposed to be, or a dinner party, or the way a friend's supposed to show up. I have a dear friend of mine who called me out, and I said, I want to be with someone who loves me unconditionally no matter what. And they're going to be there no matter what. And she's like, well, what if you had a child and they killed your child? And would you still want to be with that person? And then you're going to be there no matter what. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it. And that's extreme, but she's right. If I was with a partner and they actually, hurt my child, maybe not to the sake of killing the child, would I still want to be with that partner? I mean, it's definitely something to think about. The answer is probably no, right? I haven't been in that situation yet, and nor will I, but something to think about. And what others say about you and how they treat you is a projection of what's going on inside of them. And the same thing goes for you, right? For sure. And we don't want to make assumptions. So we don't want to make assumptions. And that's number 3. Find the courage to ask questions. I mean, the quality of our life, Tony Robbins says, is handled by the amount of uncertainty we can stand. And also the questions that we ask other people, the questions that we ask ourselves. People are really going to know that you care about them by the questions that you ask so you can get to know them better. Also, communicate very clearly what it is that your intentions are to avoid misunderstandings. And when something comes up that may rub you the wrong way and you push up against it, see it as a gift for a chance for growth. And, use questions like, what I'm making up. My hallucination is this. Can you help me understand, where you're coming from or why that happened? These things can completely transform your life, for sure. And also, number four is always do your best. I mean, again, we learned this in kindergarten, right? But always do your best and be willing to shift and, shift to realize that maybe your best that was last year is not going to be your best today. Maybe the way that you showed up today is not going to be the same tomorrow. But we want to also be able to sit in the moment and trust that what we're doing is enough, while we also have a growth mindset that there's actually another way to look at things and how we can actually spread more love and understanding to the world. Under any circumstance, show up as your best. And don't project that on someone else. Yes, we want them to do their best and accept that whatever they're bringing to you is their best. It may not be your best, but it's their best. I mean, you will avoid judgment, abuse, regret. And also, this is for yourself. If you're accepting that you're doing the best that you can, you're going to avoid your own self-judgment, your own self-abuse, your own regret. So these 4 principles, again, many of you have heard these. I just want to bring this up, and luckily, I've chosen to have friends in my life where we can actually talk these things out. So there's not a lot of little mini dramas going on in my life anymore, because I choose to have people in my life. And then when I'm in accountability partnerships, I make sure that I'm with someone that we can actually speak truth. My edge has been to be patient, as some people take a longer time to process than I do. And I'm very grateful to one of my dear friends, one of my best friends for the last 6 years, of 5 years now, who's taught me that just by how she shows up. And then we both have brought different gifts because, she also values me for actually wanting to talk about it. So there's a way that we've met in the middle. So so be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. How'd I solve this with this friend? We are all okay. And we've all come together, and I apologize, for my part, because we're always 100% responsible for our part. And they came to me too. And, thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Go a long way. So I hope this helped you guys. I just wanted to put this out there. There's a lot of tension in the world right now, and a lot of feelings getting hurt that we just need to be understanding and give each other grace and compassion. See ya.